So what's up everybody, it's me, True Star Screamer, and we are looking at the Sentinel, I guess now they call it SV action, but they're the Sentinel series, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Noir figure. Now, guys know, longtime watchers of the show know that I was not a fan of Hasbro's version of this figure. That I think was actually one of my most... that was a figure I was just really not a fan of, plain and simple. Feel free to watch that video, but it's just going to be me ranting. So, Sentinel put theirs out there, and I love their Miles Morales. I got that before I was really getting back into reviews. I have not gotten their Peter B. Parker, nor their Spider-Gwen, though I really do want them. Or Ghost Spider, whatever the heck she's called these days. I do want them, though. Because, again, the Miles Morales figure totally blew me away. But, this guy, when he came out, it was like almost like instant pre-order. And then BBTS, I finally shipped my stuff from BBTS the other day. Hence, the last couple reviews, like the Street Fighter ones. And this guy wasn't part of the pile of loot. So, here's the figure. As you can see, I took him out of the box because I had to mess with him. Box is actually very nice. I do like the windows here. This is where you saw his other face on there. Some very nice sample photography of what you can do with him. Great just action pose right here. And this might be a way I am going to display him. And just a few more sample shots of what you can do with this guy. I am going to say, this is, again, I like the Miles Morales figure better. There's one glaring stupid decision they made with this, and we'll talk about that. But enough about the box, let's talk about the toy. I totally loved this guy in Into the Spider-Verse. I love the fact it was Nic Cage. There is some neat things they did for the design of it. The coattails here are were actually separate pieces, as are the ties of the trench coat. I want to talk about that. So these can flare out, which I think is very neat, but I will say they totally make the figure completely back heavy. So I will sorry, spam call. So with the back, they make him back heavy, so it's very hard to pose him dramatically unless you got him hunched forward. And here's my other issue. These pop out very, very, very easily. Revoltech, I think, actually has this down to a science. This is something I would see Revoltech, actually would kind of like to see Revoltech do a little bit more, to be honest. One thing I do like with these coattail designs, by the way, they do overlap, as you can see. So when you don't have them, and you're doing that more basic A stance, they don't... it drapes very naturally. This is definitely something I think this has a head over that Marvel Legends design, and this is something I actually would really like to see in the future from other designers. So this is a very clever way of doing the coattails, of keeping them, together, but still let you flare it out for more action things. So very neat. Shoulders are a very good bicep joint. Double jointed elbows, but because of the whole black design, it's very, 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 very clean. Neck can swivel around quite nicely. Decent on the ab crunch. Not horrible, but decent. Leg can kick up forward like so. Doesn't kick out as much. So that's something I thought was very strange. Oh, never mind. Just a tight joint. I apologize. So yes, we can kick him out. I never actually pushed it out that far. Things you do. Twist on the hip. And we do not have a boot cut, which I'm kind of surprised with, to be honest. Decent ankle pivot. Everything is very good on the articulation. Hands, as opposed to the Miles Morales, which were all pins that didn't elbow. As you can see, that they're on, the pin is on the jacket sleeve, which then allows you to have a little bit of pivot, which I think is a nice step up from the Miles Morales figure. Again, though, I'm going to say it now, Morales I still think is a better figure. So let's talk accessories. So I just had a fun, humbling experience when taking out the accessories. A little thing about rash judgment, and about lack of faith. And we're going to talk about that as we go through these parts. One thing I did not mention that I think is absolutely awesome is this completely showcase that whole black and white coloring that he had of Into the Spider-Verse. This is, he was a black and white film put in the middle of this colorized world, and it looks so good with this. I do the NECA figures, the MonsterVerse figures, and they do black and white versions of them, which I have partially wanted to have, but part of me just is like, dude, you collect so many things. But it worked for his character, and even if he was colorized, these colors still work. If it's a black suit versus a red suit in a black and white color scheme. So they just really translate this well. Accessories. Okay. I'm not usually a person to go through all the crazy hands, so I'm going to be going through just about one of each, just to kind of show you, and then there are some where I don't say both are needed, but it's kind of unique. First, he does have his fists, which is great. He has a pair of wall crawling hands that, again, are perfect. Like, they got that scrunched up finger. This is exactly how I want my wall crawling hands, and they have those exaggerated proportions so well. He has a gesturing hand to hold, and one of the other neat things, I know his head's popping off here, but when we do this, the hat can actually come off of this. And stay. Yeah, I'm going back here for a second. This works really well in like holding the hat, which I think is neat. Since we popped off the head, he also has a hatless head, which is very cool. So no, that can't put that back on there because he has that peg on it, but I think that's pretty neat. We've got both hat and hatless, and a way to kind of display him, holding his hat. So put that back on there. Put that back on here, and notice that no drama at all on popping that head off, which I think is really nice. Just balance. Case in point. Oh, it's a good thing he comes packaged with a stand, which we will talk about in a second. Stay. Yes. So, wall crawling hand, kind of hold your hat hand. This is neat, because he also, if you look on the illustration, he also tips his hat with his hand, which is pretty neat. And while we're here, he has as they call it, a burnt match. So you can have him get ready to set the docks on fire, and he can hold that in this hand, which I think is very cool. Put that in there. Just slides in there just like so. And we're good to go. So if you want to have him, set a leaky gasoline on fire, though that is in black and white. Also, more open hand. We have a holding hand, which is to hold a spiderweb, and he does have two of these, by the way, and so these look very good. We do have a thwipping hand, and again, this effect works perfect. Then we have a trigger hand, and if you look on the package, he's got this cartoonish gun, which of course he holds just fine. It's gonna slip in there, pop the finger in there, life is good. Now, it specifically says in the instructions that this does not go into this holster. When I got that, I was like, why bother? What is the purpose of that? I would rather have had a proper holster or even a clip for this gun to go onto. This looks silly. I mean, I get it. It's from a kid's movie, yada yada yada, but why give him a gun holster he can't use? Well, as I was getting everything out for this little review here, I saw this little black packet. And I'm like, huh? And this is black on black, so it wasn't even showing in the, it was hiding in the black tray. I opened it up, and this little bubble wrap was in there. And come on. And in it was this Luger pistol. which of course will fit perfect into that holster, and yes, is how I'm going to have him on display. So I think that's cool. They did do the more kid-friendly thing, but we do actually have the more adult weapon to it, which of course is how I think it should be done. So props. I was gonna call out the whole as a major con to this, but they took care of it. That's perfect. And finally, we have their display stand. I think this is probably one of the best display stands out there. I put it right up there with the Mafex flight stands. The screws are tight, the plastic's solid. I am very, very pleased with this, and it looks really cool when you put a figure on there. I have personally had my Miles Morales on one of these stands now for 3 years. It has not budged an inch. And I mean, there you go. He is looking very, very, very Spider-Man-y. You know, he kicks high, can kick out. You know, very dynamic. The jacket flares out, so it gives him that sense of motion. You know, we've got him from swinging outward, shooting forward. I love how the web disappears into the sleeve, so you think that the web slinger, you know, the web launcher is in here. The great grip on the stand to give him that aerodynamic pose. I am very, very, very happy. This is, well, I mean, it costs, this was about $85. Actually, that Spider-Man Noir was $35. So, wow, he was so a little more than twice of what that Spider-Man Noir figure is, and I'm getting 3 times as much satisfaction out of that. Actually, no, 4 times as much satisfaction, but 3 times as much options with it. You know, from web shooters, stand, being able to hold a pose, being able to stand. You know what? I'm gonna go get that piece of junk. I'll be right back. Okay, maybe calling him a piece of junk was harsh, but he really did disappoint me. I mean, this is the pose I've been having him in since I did that review, and I mean, that's works for a dynamic standing, but again, having him just stand normal, this flare out looks, again, horrible. I mean, I got a review for this, alright, you know that, but you totally see the difference here of, well, the love that was put into it. So yeah, back up here, as you can see, I'm very pleased. I feel I've definitely got my money's worth out of this. I think he's still available on Big Bad Toy Store, Amazon and such. The price hasn't jacked up. I think some of the allure's gone from him. But I absolutely recommend him. But tell me your thoughts. That's what the comment section is down below. What the comment section is for down below. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and as always, until next time, take care. Peace.